the iPhone, right? Your body is the iPhone, and you're trying to download all of these apps. We've got the confidence app, the self-esteem app, the speak loudly app. We've got the curiosity app. You've got the marketing app, all these apps, right? But people think it's about learning more and consumption. If I just learn that next tactic, that next strategy, then everything will work. But I'm just saying, no, not so fast. That is just 40% of the result. 60% of the result is releasing the virus, the core beliefs, the identity, okay? And the blocked emotions that you're not holding space for with yourself. And that's what causes what's called projection. Again, yes, we don't want to be in denial. And yet at the same time, we want to do that work to basically contribute to the world how we want to make our contribution here. But we can do that most effectively and quickly when we release the virus of lack of appreciation or the virus of not doing the work. And so there's be opportunities for you guys to like step into the hot seat and be like, okay, what's the limiting core belief? That if you just remove the virus, you're free. Then the programs start working. Like, oh, okay, program's working. And I know this is true because I did all those successful things and then I posted it. My little ego was like, oh yeah, I gotta prove them wrong. The only way for your ego to get that validation is more, right? More money, more validation from the outside world. But again, that was the spiritual lesson of like, you're compensating. You're not connected with your higher transcendent purpose. And it went from, oh, I genuinely want to help people, I do this for free, into, oh, I'm getting money from this. Oh, that feels good. Dopamine. Oh, I'm getting validation, status, blah, blah, blah. More, right? And that's how the ego can be very, kind of covert in that way. You see that? So when you heal the virus of the need for validation, then now you're truly in that alignment, right? It's like where you're like, you're not just to help people, but you're not going to pretend like you don't need money. Like money's not important. You're not going to be on either side of the extreme spectrum. You're going to be right down the middle. And that's where I personally want to be. I personally want to live in a world where we recognize that we are the abundance, that you are not separate from others, that you are an infinite creative being. That's the world that I want to live in. Okay. And in the healing of shame, we wake up to that. Which brings the whole training today full circle of like, a lot of this work now for us is on that lower part of the body and up here a little bit, but now we're starting to move down here. And it just happens to be that the throat does help us to vibrate a lot of this energy through the body. And this is a part of self-soothing that I think a lot of coaches don't get trained on because we don't know how to like touch ourselves or give ourselves gifts or give ourselves these affirmations or really connect to our pain in a useful way. There's a value to connecting to our pain to get leverage on ourselves in the short term. We're like, yeah, okay, there's no reason why I can't do that. Boom, gets you into action. You just don't want to live there. You don't want to live in the material gain world, but you don't want to deny yourself of that either. You don't want to live in the I'll prove them wrong world, but you don't want to you want to see that as like a tool that you could leverage. Okay, you see that? You want to be at the higher purpose of like, why am I here? And I'm teaching you how to think about thinking about thinking. Why do you think this way? Okay. If I want to double my income, actually, whatever. Let's just say it was extra 10K. Okay. Next question is, well, why would that be important to me? What would that enable me to do and have? Oh, it helped me to, pay for rent without thinking about it, without worrying about it, to travel. And why would that be important? Well, because I value freedom, external freedom. Why is that important to you? Well, because I never really had that growing up, because I wanted to, I want to really heal my lineage and SRZ. And why is that? The fact that you can or cannot do that how is it wrong that you're where you're at? Well, is there anything wrong with what's true now? Well, not necessarily. But I do see that there's a value to learning this stuff so I can actually, and then if I go deeper, like, oh, I could pay for this. And then those higher purpose motivations, if you just go about 7 layers deep as to why certain things are the way you want them, you always stem them back into the core belief. Okay. And you can also do this not just on your desires, but you can also do this on your limiting self-talk, the narrative. Okay. But pay attention to that. These conversations are not the same thing as conversations with clients. Okay. So that's a different world. This is the world of freedom and happiness and fun. That's the world of like, right? So you don't want to let yourself, the narrative, remember 1, 2, 3, you want to practice holding your frame. You want to say, okay, am I having a little bit of trouble distinguishing what is my narrative about what's true in life and what is their narrative? Because as an empath, you will buy into their frame and they will frame you into that. And then you will be victimized. They predatorize you. Are you talking about like, don't be a predator in business? Don't be a predator as a buyer, bitch. Right? Why are you shaming people into genuinely wanting to help you and not empowering yourself to say no? Someone who can't say no uses that as a pattern protector to protect themselves because they haven't learned the lesson that like there's nothing wrong with saying no. In fact, that's very empowering because you're saying yes to something that's more aligned for you. You see that? So I want to be rejected. I want to be low status. I want to not fit in. I want to be different. But that's just my belief. I'm showing you that's the biggest secret I've ever learned. Because then that helps me get out of this mode of like contraction, basically. Of like fight, flight, and freeze. Trigger response. Like, overthinking, beating myself up, knowing what to do, but still not doing it. And then self-attacking myself. That's even worse than not even knowing what to do. Okay? Isn't it? I would rather not. I feel it's better to not just simply not be aware. Then if you are aware of like, I do know what I'm supposed to be doing next, but I'm not executing on it. That's, I think, worse to your self-image or self-trust than not knowing what to do. But that's why I'm showing you, if you just heal the virus, then you're going to liberate yourself from all of that self-attack. What's your biggest thing? What's the biggest thing that you'd like to be different?
Consistent income.
Okay, what's an emotional connection that prevents you from being able to, besides the fact that maybe you're just not aware of some things that you got to do, but like, what are maybe some of the refrigerator hum blocks, internally?
Lack of self-worth and self-value.
Okay, well, again, before we go deeper, what's like a day-to-day thing that goes on for you? It could be limiting self-talk, it could be
thinking and obsessing about paying my bills.
Okay, obsessing about paying your bills. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, and the way that we find core beliefs around identity is we say, okay, if that's it, and I cannot judge that I'm judging because that's just identifying with the feeling, you don't want to do that. But you also don't want to spiritually bypass and not feel the feeling. You want to let yourself feel it and know that there's a mental protector analyzing, judging, blaming, victimizing. And that has a role, but it's not who you are. But this is what forces people to not allow themselves to feel. Okay. So let's get back to the thing. Okay. So you have the scarcity, or you have the fear of not paying the bills. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. So there's that. Then the next step from there is to ask yourselves, okay, what am I making that mean about myself? Maybe stemming back from some other place in time, but what am I making that mean?
That I'm not valuable.
Okay. That I'm not valuable. Okay.
That my work isn't valuable. It seems generic. I feel like it's deeper.
What is the
That
feel?
I'm scared to be seen.
You're scared to be seen? No, that's the feeling. Okay. So the feeling is the feeling and the belief is a meaning, right? What does it mean when I'm seen to you, to your ego? Because what we're looking for is what you're actually afraid of. Does that make sense?
Yes. Um, what does it mean to be seen? Is that what you said?
Yeah, what's so scary about being seen?
That I look like a complete weirdo, and it goes back to childhood religion stuff. Um,
Okay, now that again, I notice how the ego mind wants to trace it back to
uh-huh,
some past, right? But I
uh-huh.
want you to just see that your ego is here and the feeling is here. So the ego is sitting on top of this feeling, of this fear. And what we want to do is actually presence this and breathe into where it is in the body. Okay. Otherwise, you won't heal it and it will just keep doing this. So the ego's like, oh no, it must be this, it must be this, it must be that's your protector, that's the ego protecting, right?
Yeah. It's in my solar plexus, and
And what's the sensation?
there's contraction, but it's fire. So it feels alivening while feeling fear at the same time. Now
Alive
we're
and
back in feelings. Yeah, I feel alive actually to be seen.
okay. And is there a positive association with that or negative?
Yes, positive with the alive.
Okay. So I want you to see the loops, the justifications that you go into. And that could be true for you, right? But what you do want to find out what you're like actually afraid of. So why would that be so bad if you were seen?
It would be great. Let's see. Okay.
It wouldn't. It would be great.
The negative belief there is that I'm full of shit.
Ah, okay. Right. You're trying to analyze this.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to just stick with this.
Okay.
What would it mean? Like, what would be so bad? And what would it mean if you're full of shit? And really go like darker with this. Like, it's okay.
That I would be pretty much a predator if I wasn't truthful. Then what I would be teaching would be lies. My entire life's mission and purpose and everything I've studied would be a waste of time. So that would mean my life is a waste of time. Um, that I don't know.
Okay. You're sitting right on top of it. To breathe. So we're just kind of like wax on, wax off, right? Like we're leaning into, okay, what am I making this mean? Then we're softening and we're being like, okay, what do I feel? I'm allowed to feel this way. Okay. Okay. Now, what do you feel?
Um, what keeps like coming up in it is that I didn't heal my body. Like there's that somehow, because all this work has to do with me healing my body and my health journey as well. Um,
Why would that be so bad?
because I worked so fucking hard at it. It wouldn't. As long as my body's healed, that's great. It would be fine.
Okay. So again,
Validation.
notice if you're justifying or if it's like truly that you feel like this is like because this is where like the shadow integration is, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you still feel the feeling, okay, this is common to feel this. Okay, so you said we have to sit with ourselves for quite some time to really presence the shame or guilt, unworthiness. Okay, because I mean, what do you feel that maybe, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want to help you to see that you're always creating an identity around that, the belief
Yeah.
of I'm a waste of time. What shows up for
Mm-hmm.
you when I hit
Yeah.
when you hear that?
Um, my parents.
Well, I know that that's what the ego wants to blame, but again,
Okay.
it's blaming not them, but their ego. Okay, it's not even them, right? When you think it's them, it's them. No, they have programming, trauma, ego, and now you're taking on their stuff. Okay, but that's what the ego does. It tricks you. It's like, oh, it's them, but they're not separate from you. So if you're judging them, you're judging you. So you want to stop that and get and transcend and get out of that. Stop trying to play that game. You can't win that game. That's how the ego likes that. It's like, oh, if you resist this, then I'll trick you and I'll have this problem persist. If you're not willing to feel it, you won't shift it. You won't heal it. So the work is okay. Now we just got to the belief, baby. Yes, it's I'm a waste of time. Now, is that true? Of course not.
No.
Right? But now you can have that own self-generated narrative and hold that frame and boundary within yourself. Okay. And then not buy into other people's who have a different narrative than you. Again, know that they're like, you have to distinguish, oh, is this I'm having a hard time in distinguishing, is this my narrative? Or is because then what happens if you don't know it's not yours, you're gonna take their pain on as yours. And then you're gonna, right, give your power away, blah, blah, blah. And that's not what you want. What you do want for yourself is to have those moments every day to do the work and feel the pain of I'm a waste of time, and then shift the perception. So you're basically selling yourself. You're saying, oh no, I'm worth the time because the time is now. That's why I love the book, The Power of Now, because it shows you that you are infinite in the now. And then now the energy starts to flood your body into that higher vibration. And now you feel yourself transforming your subconscious emotional identity. And that's the place that we want to be. Okay. But just notice when you're feeling a certain way, it's like, oh, this is a surface level thing. What am I making that mean? Right. About myself, probably from like the past or before this life. But then questioning if that's true, of course. But you do want to let yourself drift in the I'm allowed to feel this pain of the core belief of like, oh, I'm a waste of time. Okay. Then you shift the meaning into what you genuinely want, which is becomes your intention. I am time. 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 Oh my God, you're a time? Yes. Yes. Time. It's my relationship to time. The water moves fast and it moves slow. It moves fast motion, slow motion. Fast motion, slow motion. Fast motion, slow motion, right? So time is kind of bendable, right? Yes, we have targets of deadlines, but we can play from as if we've already got there. And if we were to play as if we were already arrived, now there's no need to strive. And then people feel that vibration of wholeness, they buy. Okay, but that's how I'm wiring my mind. That's what a frame control is people fall into my frame because I know how to trick my mind into what I want it to do. Basically, it's like a wild stallion, that subconscious mind.